Welcome to the Jets UK podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Andres Groves, and I'm joined by one of my co-hosts, Matthew Merrett. How you doing, Matt?
Not bad at all. Got to watch the Giants start their season 0-2 for the fifth season in a row last night, which always makes it a good week. And then looking forward to the weekend, and hopefully the Jets avoid the same fate and we can consign the Patriots to the 0-2 start, not us. So
yeah,
ready to get going.
Absolutely. Patriots week 2 already starting. A new era for both teams with two rookie QBs. It's really exciting game. So yeah, we're going to be obviously previewing the game. We're going to jump into our predictions in a minute. Then we're also going to wrap up the show with an interview with Karl from 2 Feet Inbound. He's a Patriots fan, and he'll have the lowdown on the team that's facing us on Sunday. I think we already know a little bit about them, but he obviously knows way more than what we know. So that would be good for that, and then we'll wrap up the show with that. So let's just jump straight into it, Matt. We'll jump into a few categories and see how we feel about the game on Sunday. What's the matchup that you're looking forward to, and things that you think will be a deciding factor going into this game as we bounce back from week 1?
Well, we've heard it a million times before, haven't we? The NFL is a prove-it league, and until you prove you can do something, teams are going to attack you for that. And after that first week coming out of that, I know we spoke about it at length on Monday's recap show, but the Jets O-line is in prove-it week, and they need to show that they can keep Zach Wilson upright, out of pressure, in clean pockets, so that he can unleash his special talents. So I think the key matchup for the Jets this week is going to be that O-line v that Patriots D-line, which is a lot of good players in that front seven of the Patriots, and I think they'll come with some interesting looks to try and get after them. This is going to be even more of a challenge. We've got George Fant presumably slipping over to left tackle with Morgan Moses coming into right tackle. So there's a bit of change up, and it kind of adds into what we've seen all off-season with the Jets not being able to get any consistency on that O-line. They haven't been able to kind of get those reps together to kind of get the communication going, get a feel for how each other's protecting is working. So it's going to be an interesting battle for the Jets, and one that they're really going to need to be up to if they're going to have any chance in this game against the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is obviously giving time to throw the ball and get things done. Maybe get some options down the field, but more importantly, just keeping him healthy. It's a long season, and we just can't afford to lose him. And if he takes that punishment, I was reeling off it on Monday on the recap, saying that we can't lose him. We got to protect him. And the more you look at the footage, you see that Denzel Mims throw for the all 22 angle. And it's amazing. It's amazing in any angle, and it's a fantastic play, and you celebrate it. But that shot he took then, I mean, on top of all the other shots we saw, the one that he got with the 2 guys tackling him, I think it was Gross Matos and Derek Brown getting him for that double sack just before he threw the second touchdown to Corey Davis. Like, those hits can't happen. You just can't. We can't have what happened to Joe Burrow happened to Zach. It just derails everything, and kind of as an organization, you just reset again to almost a rookie situation again. So really have to protect him better. And even if it kind of means that we leave guys in to block, and we have less options out there, we have to see how it goes, because I think just keeping him healthy and keeping options going, and we maybe get into the game, we can maybe open things up a little bit. But as we start, we got to really just, the protection is the first thing, and making sure he's healthy.
I think, just to build on that, of course, we all know the offense that the Jets want to play as well, and they want to be a run-first team. So even in the context of on the running attack, we kind of need a lot more out of those front 5 to kind of get that push to create those running lanes. And hopefully we can see that. I think Morgan Moses coming into right tackle will really help that, because Matt LaFleur seems to like running to the right-hand side, which was slightly surprising considering he had Becton and AVT on the other side. But when Morgan Moses came on against the Panthers, there was a noticeable shift in terms of how much push they were getting on that side. And getting people like Ty Johnson and Michael Carter running behind Moses should hopefully set up the kind of offense that LaFleur wants to run, with the play action, with the cutting the field in half, with getting the defense in the ropes, and also just creating those second and short situations.
Yeah.
Because I think Joe Caporoso did a tweet where he had Zach Wilson's first 8 throws, and they were all 1st and 10, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9, long conversions that were having to be made. And I think the more we can cut that down and kind of give Zach an opportunity to attack down the fields on your 2nd and 3s, on your 3rd and 2s, to really create those big plays, is going to be to the Jets' advantage.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really down to the line. You talk about the line and what they did. The interior guys, especially AVT, not AVT. Well, AVT improved in the game, but especially GVR, the other abbreviation, and McGovern, they need to do a better job, getting blocks into the second level. They're, if you look at it, the tackles did a decent job actually in terms of wrong blocking. It was the stuff down the center that was kind of, they weren't creating those second level blocks and allowing the linebackers to crash forward and fill up the holes. So yeah, I think they just need to. I think it's just a lot of it was just teachable stuff from what the coaches are saying. So hopefully that's the case. I'm not asking for flawless, but we just got to have someone that's halfway competent, halfway competent. That takes me to my one I'm looking for as a key matchup is the other line battle, which is our D line against their O line. Now, the stats came out that we actually had a pretty good pass rush rate last week. We didn't really notice it in the game. I think, as we were saying before the pod, I think it was just Sam dumping off to CMC just in the nick of time every single time, and that was the key of the game. Maybe against someone who isn't as talented as CMC and with someone who isn't as quick, hasn't got that option like Sam had. Maybe we can get there in time. And so, Mac Jones was hit 9 times in his game, so similar, took a lot of punishment like Zach. The line is obviously more heralded than the Carolina line, but they didn't play very well. So maybe we can, I'm sure they'll get things. That team up there, that they get things sorted out pretty quickly. I'm sure they will. But if we can, really come on and give them another hard game with the strength of our team is if we see that D line. I think that's going to be a key to kind of making things difficult for Matt Jones because he's very poised guy. You can see at this point in his career, he's very almost ahead of a rookie in terms of the way he plays. Maybe he hasn't got the ceiling of some of the other guys in the draft, but his floor is very high and he's playing really well. So you need to upset him, rush him, make him make some mistakes, and maybe our DBs can kind of ball hawk and get some game changing plays. So that's, I think, the line play, like it always is in the NFL, in football in general, is what it is, and I think there's no different in this game between these two teams. In terms of a bounce back performance, something that we obviously coming off that loss, disappointment performances. There was some good stuff, some bad stuff. What's the bounce back performance that you're looking for in week 2 against the Pats?
I think for me, it's the Jets have to play 60 minutes. They can't just play a 30-minute game. So my bounce back performance has to be the first half. Looking at that Carolina game, if you took out that disastrous 7.5 minutes from the second quarter, we outscored them 14-3, and obviously it is a 60-minute game, so there's no excuses for that. But the Jets need to be able to come out and attack from minute 1. They can't get into these positions where they're chasing games and putting it all on Zach's shoulders to throw passes and get them back into the game. I think on both sides of the ball, having that fast start, that intensity, particularly in a home opener when you've got the crowds are back, there will be a level of excitement, a level of energy inside the stadium, which we obviously haven't had for a while with Adam Gase and COVID. Getting that fast start.
Like how you put both of them together, they're on equal footing. Adam Gase and COVID equally affected us as Jets fans,
Totally. Having that fast start will be so important to kind of getting them pushing in the right direction. So hopefully we get a 60-minute performance this week.
Absolutely. I mean, the fast start with that home crowd is really important. Just don't want to get behind against the Patriots at home. The crowd start getting a little bit annoyed, and I think it's definitely at least to keep us in. We don't want to kind of go in a hole against the Patriots in this situation. So I think you're right. Just keep it consistent, keep it going, and make sure that we're playing sound football throughout. With my bounce back performance, I think it's the running game, as you mentioned earlier on. We've got to get that working. We've got to get that schemed up. We've got to get that blocked out well. We've got to get that moving. That's going to be another key to helping Zach and keeping him healthy and playing well. You can play off that. The running game, obviously, we look forward to it. Obviously, what you see in San Francisco and some of the other places that have similar schemes, they have good running games, and we obviously hope for the same. And it's crucial to this offense in terms of the overall success. So I'm looking for a bounce back. I don't know if it's going to be Tevin Coleman again. I mean, I don't know.
I hope not.
I don't know. Like, it's a situation where it's not as egregious as the Frank Gore situation. But I still feel like it's pretty obvious when you see Ty Johnson, and even Michael Carter as well. There's just more. There's more juice there. There's just a little bit more. I know Tevin Coleman knows the scheme, and he's obviously a veteran. Knows the different teams, and they've played up against some of these matchups. But I think it's just you got to give these other guys who've got a bit more juice a chance to really kind of make the most out of these opportunities that aren't going to come against a team that are going to be scheming to stop the run to make things difficult for Zach. So I think, but I'm looking for that at least. It doesn't again. It's not going to have to be like gangbusters, but at least just a bit more efficient than last week because last week was non-existent.
And against a Belichick team as well, I think that's even more important considering he is kind of the master of controlling field position, time of possession, and how the game kind of ebbs and flows. And if you can really establish that running game, you can kind of steal a bit of that power back from him and kind of play the game on your terms, which is exactly what the Jets need to do against him with those rookie head coach, a rookie play caller, going up against, I think Salah called him one of the best chess players of all time. So that running game is going to be so important to kind of establishing the Jets' will on the game so that they can kind of set up play action passes so they can kind of control the clock. They can kind of push the Patriots to kind of come up into the box and kind of create space for Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and kind of give them the options that they need. Yeah,
I mean, you got to stay balanced against this Patriots team. If you get one-dimensional, it's the end of your day, really. With the way Bill Belichick schemes. So, bold predictions going into this game. What's your bold prediction for this game?
So it seems like it's been across the board. It's been a pretty mixed bag for the rookie wide receivers. I'm aware Tony is currently on -3 receiving yards after the Giants' first 2 games, but then we saw great touchdown catches from people like Jamar Chase and Devonta Smith in their debuts. So I think this week we're going to see Elijah Moore join those two with a touchdown pass. And I'm going to put it at over 50 yards completion. So a nice long ball. I know he had a bit of a rocky start in his first game. There was that one drop which has been played back on Jets Twitter. Was it a pass interference or not?
Yeah.
But I think he's got to really be coming down with that ball. And there were a nice one which was called back for a holding penalty. But I think this week is the week we really see Elijah Moore get going. And I think part of that is because Belichick, one of his big tactics is he loves taking your number one option away from your quarterback. So I think Corey Davis, probably not the best week to start him in fantasy football. I think you might see him looking a lot of double coverage looks as Belichick tries to take away that security blanket for Zach.
Yeah.
So hopefully with Elijah's cut, his speed, he might be able to take advantage of that. And I think Zach is the kind of quarterback who loves taking those big plays when they're available and giving his receivers a chance. So that is my bold prediction, is that Elijah Moore is going to kickstart his season with a 50-plus yard touchdown.
All right. We'll note that down. 50-plus touchdown for Elijah Moore. I'd love to see it. It'll be very exciting to get him on the board and get his season rolling. So definitely looking forward for that to happen. For me, it's going to be, I think the D-line going to get home a bit more than obviously what they did against the Panthers. And I think Quinnen, I think he's going to, they say he knocks off the rust. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to have that second game. I'm predicting that second game, burst like he did last year. I'm going to have him with, at least 2 sacks in this game, kind of bursting through the middle and getting Mac Jones on the ground. So that one's I just see, I can see good production from this line, and I see Mac Jones. There's a rookie there, I know he's a Patriot, but he's still a rookie, so I think there's a chance to do it. In terms of your score prediction for the game, have you got? Do you want to nail down a score prediction to see how close you get when we?
So I think we're going to be looking at 2 teams coming in the 20 points kind of range. I think it should be a back and forth game, and I can't see either side really pulling away from it. I think it's going to be fairly neck and neck with the Jets hanging in there. I do think, on the whole, the Patriots roster and their savvy is probably slightly above where the Jets are at the moment. So if the Jets are going to have any chance, I think we're going to need Zach Wilson to really step it up. I'll probably put the final score around the 28-24 mark to the Patriots.
Okay.
Although I would not be surprised at all if the Jets win. And I think I've seen the line covering it is something like +6.5, which I think is pretty unfair.
It's really excessive. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put the Jets at 24 as well, but I'm going to put the Pats at 20. I think I'm going to just go confident. I have confidence about this game, and I think that we're going to put up some points, and I think that we're going to do enough to hold them back. Again, this is just, quiet confidence. I'm trying to speak it into existence, I guess, but I do. I'm not scared of this Pats team, and if we get a better performance from the players that were disappointment, if we get a bit more, a better pass rush, no matter the stats, if we get better protection for Zach, and the running game works a little bit better, this Pats team doesn't scare me. It really doesn't. They weren't explosive. They're not explosive. They're not, particularly good at this point, in terms of their first game. They weren't great. So, we got to play better, but I think we can, and I think we'll get the win. 24-20 will be my prediction. So, that's going to wrap it up for us, in terms of our lead up. We're going to kick it over to my interview with Karl from 2 Feet Inbounds. So we'll head to that right now. Okay, so we're joined by Karl from the 2 Feet Inbound podcast. He'll be repping for the Patriots, as we know from the AFC roundtable that we did earlier before the season. So, Karl, thanks for joining us on the pod.
No, thank you very much for allowing me to come on. It's very, very much appreciated. Obviously, I've been on your channel before when we had the roundtable for the AFC East. That was all a bit of fun in that with Matt and with Raj. But this time it's a one-on-one talk regarding of the week 2 matchup between my Patriots and your Jets.
Well, yes, it's Pat's Jets week, so there's always a big week. No matter where the teams are, there's a lot of emotions in terms of going into this game, and I think this one's especially interesting, obviously, with the 2 rookie QBs meeting, after 2 losses and trying to pick up their first win, and inflict the 0-2 record on the other after this week. So it's a very interesting and almost pivotal week for both of them in terms of facing that challenge in this rivalry game. So, going back, obviously, last week's loss to the Dolphins, it was a close one up in Foxborough, but the Dolphins, pipped you to the post at the end of the game with obviously that fumble that kind of settled it really. What things do you think went well, and what things do you think will need improving going forward from the week 1 performance?
Well, I think Mac Jones proved that he is a starter. I think 289 yards passing, one touchdown. He didn't turn the ball over, completed 72% of his passes. I know a lot of people turn around and say, but it was all dink and dunk passes. At the end of the day, you're moving the chains. I think he averaged 9 plays a game, 9 plays a drive, I think it was, that he averaged. So if you've got that time just dink and dunk your way and just play the normal running game, it's going to hurt the defense on the opposing side of the ball a lot quicker than a lot of people actually realise. But the running game, I thought we were outstanding with. Damian Harris had a $120 on the running game, which for the Dolphins defense, that's actually a really, really good thing that he done there. The only problem was the fumbles. There were 2 things that went wrong for us in that game. One of them were the fumbles, and obviously the pivotal one was, of course, Damian Harris fumbling inside Miami's 10 late in the 4th quarter, which that basically killed my soul when I saw that happen. I thought they're gonna win this now. And obviously Ramondre Stevenson fumbled as well. John O. Smith had a fumble as well, but he was sort of like carted over end to release the ball, so that was always a bit of a miscue, and a botched snap, but it was Mac Jones managed to keep it covered up and whatnot. I see the defense that we have right now. We held the Dolphins to 17 points. Yes, we gave up 2 touchdowns, and I think our 3rd string corner, Jawan Williams, is susceptible. J.C. Jackson, I know he is a very, very good corner, but by no means is he a number 1 corner. That falls on Stephon Gilmore all day long. And I think that's probably what we're missing in that secondary. Stephon Gilmore to return back, but we're not expecting him back until week 6, week 7 maybe, or if we expect him back at all, we still don't know. He's still on the PUP list. But regarding of our actual offense itself, the weapons, Jacoby Myers had a good game. Kendrick Bourne actually had like 59 yards receiving in that game. And he caught all 3 of his targets. The only problem was, though, all 3 of those targets went back for offensive line penalties. And that was our Achilles heel. 8 penalties for 85 yards. That's unpatriotic-like for my team. It's usually we bully the other team into making offensive line penalties and neutral zone infractions and pass interferences, all that. But it was on us this time, and those are the sort of small fundamentals in football that will cost you a game. And on this basis, it cost us against Miami.
Yeah, it's very rare to see that from the Patriots, and they've always been a model of roboticness, of just getting things done and not making many mistakes, and they never beat themselves. So to see it happen, it gives teams like the Jets, hope where I think they are obviously favoured the Patriots to win the game, but with things like that happening, you think, well, if we can capitalise on those mistakes, that may come up again. You never know. Obviously, you expect the Bill to iron these things out pretty quickly, but it gives you that, those are the little cracks in the armour that normally aren't there for the Patriots, and so I think it's one of the keys to maybe a potential upset there if there is going to be one. In terms of, you mentioned the O-line with the penalties, especially the holding penalties, that's obviously a killer. Obviously, what's also a killer is the QB getting hit too much, and it happened obviously with Zach Wilson got hit 10 times, but we know Matt Jones got hit 9 times. So both of them were in the wars in the first week. Are you concerned about the protection for Matt Jones, especially obviously with a Jets line that is D line that's pretty strong?
How many times did Zach Wilson get sacked against Carolina?
6 times.
6 times. Mac Jones only got sacked once. He got hit 9 times, but he got sacked only once. So, no, I am not at all concerned about this offensive line. Trent Brown will be playing in week 2. I mean, the 380-pound monster at right tackle, not a lot can get through him. We've still got Isaiah Wynn. He's another week healthy, so let's just see how he pans out there. Shaq Mason and Michael Onwenu had really good go at the guard position, and also David Andrews was very good as our main centre as well. So our offensive line, I actually think, kept Mac Jones upright for pretty much most of that game. So I'm not worried about him. And the thing with Mac Jones is he can release that ball ultra quickly. He makes very good timely reads and very good timely throws. So no, I don't have any concerns about this offensive line. It's still one of the top 5 in the NFL. But the Dolphins, they've got a top 5 defense, and it's just a case of can that O-line do anymore. I mean, the Jets' defense it's not as good as Miami's, but there's always going to be a hint of they can really put pressure on you at the right given time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is obviously talent there. I know there is obviously some young unproven guys in our defense as well. A lot of them actually. So they the DBs that are kind of much talked about actually held up pretty well. Actually graded out really well against Carolina, which for as much as you say about Carolina as an overall team, I think they're coming up, and their skill position players are good. In terms of Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore and Terrace Marshall. So I think they did a good job against those guys. So I'm if they can do their job and it helps the D-line, get forward, and without someone like CMC just to be dumped off, we hope to really, make it a little bit more of a problem for Matt Jones. Then he just doesn't have someone like Darnold had for CMC, where we almost got to him and he just got the ball out just in time, and then once CMC gets it, game over in terms of stopping him on the first on the downs. So, I mean that. It's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those trenches. We were talking about earlier on the show. It's going to be one of those trenches where the Jets O-line is really going to have to do a better job in protecting Zach. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be competent. It was just it was so bad in the first half. It was really bad, and it's going to have to be better. And obviously, the D line for the Jets is going to have to break through that really, a good O-line for the Patriots to kind of try and kind of overturn this kind of deficit in the predictions, in terms of who we think is going to win. So I think that's where it's going to be key. Any other matchups do you think? We talked about those two trenches, but is there any other kind of matchup groups that you're thinking could be crucial to the game, where the game goes on Sunday?
The Jets receivers going up against our corners. Jamison Crowder is returning as well. Denzel Mims is a spark plug. You've got Tyler Crofter. Is it Tyler Crofter? Tight end.
Tyler Crofter at tight end, yeah. We've
Tyler
got
Crofter,
Elijah Moore and Corey Davis,
Elijah Moore as well, speed freak. The Jets have actually got some good weapons for Zach Wilson to throw to. When you got a mobile quarterback like Zach Wilson, he can make these daring throw on the runs. I just get worried as Zach Wilson where he's trying to make plays like Patrick Mahomes like a little bit too early without realising what he's got in front of him first. That's the bit I'm a little bit concerned about. But going back to, our corners are a little susceptible right now. JC Jackson, he can lock down corner ones, but sometimes he can get blown out as well. And then you got Jawan Williams playing as the cornerback too. You got Jonathan Jones playing as the slot corner, and then Sean Wade, who we got the trade from Baltimore from Ohio State. He plays as sort of like that slot mid-range corner as well. Plus, you've also got Jalen Mills as well. But Jalen Mills, I always feel, is better playing as a safety or box-to-box safety rather than play as a corner. But I also look at our safety position as well. Devin McCourty, he can still do an amazing job. Adrian Phillips had such raving reviews against the Dolphins. He basically played like the Jamal Adams type of role. And he was literally causing the offensive line of the Dolphins all sorts of problems. I look at the Jets receivers and I think the deep threat is going to be a real problem for us. And especially, I think if Mims or Crowder gets open, it could be a huge gain and a huge problem on our hands to deal with these receivers.
I mean, that Bill likes to always target the safety blanket for an opposing quarterback, especially a rookie or a young QB. Corey Davis has been, his safety blanket. He had 5 catches for 97 yards, 2 TDs in the first game. In preseason, it was all over. It was going to Corey Davis all the time. Do you think that with the DBs at your disposal, you'll be able to that Bill will be able to implement that while kind of erasing that number one option? And then obviously that if it does happen, then you've obviously got all the other weapons to worry about too.
I think Corey Davis will be the first one to target. I wouldn't say double cover, but you put our best corner on, so you probably put JC Jackson on him, and then it's just down to Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims on who they go up against, going up for the rest of the secondary. I think Tyler Croft could end up having a very good game in that game because the tight end position, yes, we shut down Mike Gesicki very well, but Mike Gesicki is one of their main weapons. Whereas the Jets, Tyler Croft is not one of and he's your number one tight end, but he's not one of your main weapons that you sort of have eyes in the back of your head over. So I can see Tyler Croft maybe causing us a few issues in that regard.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess those are the keys to us, where we're looking for those as Jets fans. Obviously, we know we're up against a good opponent here, especially for where we're standing in our development. So it's always interesting to see those little weak spots where we could potentially kind of get that success there. In terms of a bold prediction for the game, yardage or touchdowns or kind of a sack record, anything like that. Have you got anything to throw out there for the game?
Mac Jones to throw 2 touchdowns and throw for over 320 yards.
Okay.
That's
over
QB.
320 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He had 281.
No,
he had 281
no.
against the Dolphins, so that's not exactly out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, knowing that down.
Okay, if Damian Harris has another one of these ton-plus games, then people of fantasy football will say, don't draft Damian Harris. Well, you're foolish because he's just balling out right now. I can see Damian getting another 100-yard game, possibly a touchdown. And I'm also going to have the Pats to also sack Zach Wilson 3 times in this game. Twice by Matt Judon and 1 by Chase Winovich.
Okay, so a bag full of predictions there to follow as
Remember,
we watch the game on Sunday.
If anybody has seen my show of our latest show, you wouldn't be surprised if I've had a shit one because I got 6 out of 16 right of all the fixtures. So this is just hearsay, really.
It's fanciful, yeah. I know we all say stuff that kind of is going to warm our hearts as a potential thing. We always kind of, with those bold predictions, we always try to go positive for our own team. So understandable. But I mean, I said, it's, that yardage total would be very interesting. But I think overall, the other things you said are probably reasonable. I think 3 sacks is very, very reasonable. Potentially, I can see that happening if we don't fix things on the O-line. So, no, it's interesting. In terms of a score prediction, where do you think the game goes on Sunday?
I can see it being a close game right up to the third quarter, and then the Pats take it away in the fourth, as they always do. So if I had to score prediction, I'm going to say 28-16 Pats.
28-16 Pats. Okay. Just for the record, I went 24-20 Jets. So I went, again, like we talked about, trying to pick up our positive. But my co-host on the show today, Matt, went actually for the Patriots 28-24. So we didn't go to. I've decided to skew positive because he went negative from our perspective. So
you're on some optimistic drugs because the Jets haven't beaten the Pats in a decade.
Well, I don't think that's true. That's not even true. What are you talking about? I mean, I clearly remember, at least clearly, the Fitzpatrick year that we beat you guys, at least, if not more. Come on. We've had a couple of down years with Gase, and obviously we're looking now upwards a bit. And, it's going to be a big game. First game back at home in the new era with Salah and with Zach Wilson. I think it's going to be pretty optimistic, pretty rocking for what you normally get at MetLife. So, yeah, I think that the Jets are going to be up for this one, obviously, and I think it's going to be a close one. I could see it going either way, and I think it'll be, like you say, going into the fourth quarter, pretty close, and then one team pulls ahead. So we'll see, but it should be a good one. Before we head off, do you want to shout out, the work that you do for your channel, for your podcast?
Yeah, so my channel is 2 Feet in Bounds, and you can find us on Twitter at TFIBUK20. We are on all major podcast platforms on iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And we're doing something different for this coming season. So Sunday nights, we will be doing Sunday Night Football Watch-Along. So it's me and my other co-host, Freddie Harper-Davis. We will be doing a live play-by-play commentary, watching the current game for this week, which I believe is the Chiefs at the Ravens, which is basically a gun versus a knife fight. We know how that turns out to be. So yeah, we got that to be look forward to. So, and for the first time ever, we will be going live on Twitch. So okay. Our Twitch account will also be put in our YouTube video and also down in our Twitter feed as well as, and it'll be probably up around about tomorrow night or Sunday morning, depending when you listen to the podcast.
Absolutely, check them out. We obviously normally have guests that are promoting their own, their own podcast from their own team. But for you, you do a league-wide podcast, so and work. So it's kind of interesting for any fans listen to it, even with Jets fans. So
just a quick question. Do you have your ticket for the Jets Falcons game at London?
Yes, you
do. Okay, we'll speak off camera about something then.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think all 3 podcast members we were able to obtain tickets one with the other, so we made it happen. So yeah. But anyway, Karl, thanks for joining me on this one, and I think we'll wrap up the podcast today. So yeah, we're going to obviously do the recap on Monday. You'll be me, David, hopefully Matt as well. The 3 of us on that recap following this game against the Patriots. So, Jets fans, let's hope that we do it. I know Karl doesn't want to listen to it, but let's hope that we put in a good performance at least, and then we have a fun game to look forward to. And enjoy the game. Go Jets, and we'll see you after the game.